I asked my dad after I graduated from college, I said, what I'd really love to do is, I'd love to work with you and I'd love to take over your shop when you retire. And, it's not surprising, but his answer was absolutely not. You're not getting a master's degree to run a shoe repair. He wanted me to think that I shouldn't work with my hands. In the late 90s, we saw a shift. And that's kind of when this consumer culture of purchasing inexpensive, disposable shoes was really taking hold. And I'm sure people still want well-made shoes, but there really just aren't a lot of options available. That's really when the idea came about to start an American shoe brand. During that time, I actually started to design Oak Street. Ironically, I traveled to other countries looking for the best leather I could find, and it ended up being in the city that I live in. So Chicago manufactures the best leather, literally in the world, at Horween Leather Company.
George's idea from the beginning was that there was sort of a great synergy to be had by two Chicago companies that were going to really focus on the American-made concept.
You think about the values that people in Chicago have, and it's all about working hard and being honest. My dad very much has lived the American dream. And so when he came to the US, he worked with a cobbler, ultimately bought his business. Growing up, I spent all of my time in the shoe repair. My dad told me, George, on Saturday at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're gonna be at the shoe repair and you're gonna start working. I didn't know what I was doing. I was in middle school. At that point, he thought I was gonna be running out the door. I took the challenge. I was interested in it. You edge dye, you've got ink, you've got paste, you've got the machine spinning. I fell in love with working with shoes and working with my hands that day. Everything was in place. I was days away from launching. My whole family was together. We were in one house. I told them all about this new company that I was launching called Oak Street Bootmakers. Everyone in my family told me I was crazy, that American manufacturing, this idea is never gonna work, and I should bail on it immediately.
I almost have a heart attack. He told me I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna go my own business. I said, what are you gonna do? I said, I'm gonna fix shoes. I said, what kind of shoes? Because a lot of companies got a business, but George has something different in his mind, American-made shoes,
My dad finally walked over into the conversation and said, I think this is a good idea. When I thought about it, it actually made a lot of sense. Just like Oak Street, my dad had to take a risk, and he had taken that leap of faith, many years ago, and he supported my decision to do the same. So our factory in New York has been in continuous production of manufacturing shoes since the Civil War. However, right when we were starting to manufacture our shoes, they were literally days away from closing. It was actually pretty scary for us because we had just started a relationship. We had invested a huge sum of money.
And it was just a slow demise. Every other week, dropping our production more, having to lay more people off. This was one of the biggest employers in Batavia, and to see it on its way down was pretty heartbreaking for the whole town.
And fortunately, the volume of our shoes was able to pick things up financially for them, and we were able to continue manufacturing.
I think working with his product, his good leathers, and his demand for high quality has made us all better shoemakers. We're just grateful to all have jobs, still be together, still be doing the same thing we love to do.
I tend to think that what we're doing is so small, but every time I'm at the factories, that's when that thought is totally abandoned. It's hard to believe that it's really grown the way it has. It's incredible to be a part of this, and not only that new jobs are being formed, it's that there's an incredible sense of pride that these people have. That pride was shot down, in the 90s. They had a skill, and there wasn't a need for their skill. Nobody wanted it. And now there's, there's this rebirth. The children of immigrant parents are always told, they need to do something greater. And that was really something that was driven home often. But the interesting thing is that what our parents have achieved is pretty incredible.
He learned as a little kid in the shoe business, and he wanted to do something his own.
Having my dad see what he started being, a shoe repair, and then kind of developing the American dream that he's lived. Oak Street is kind of what can become of that American dream and kind of extending that dream.